Thank you, ladies, for hopping on with us again. We have some great guests today for our little adventure of Midlife is Not a Crisis. We have our amazing editing and videographer and all the media behind the scenes, Debbie Wells, with us. So if you're looking this way, you don't know who we're looking at, that's who we're looking at. This is just a casual conversations. We're hanging out again at Rise Nutrition in Republic. So if you haven't been there, definitely come see them. They have great drinks and we're enjoying some tonight. As an entrepreneur myself, I look at that and I'm like, both of you ladies, I'm like, okay, that's amazing. This looks like you have never missed a beat here. And I'm sure you've had hiccups and we can talk about those, but talk to us a little bit about your entrepreneurship and your journey.
Yeah, so for me, mine was just, what is it? The mother of invention. Necessity is the mother of invention, or whatever the saying is. It was kind of that way for me. So my kids played sports, and I'm always cold, and those two kind of collided.
Yeah.
And I was always cold at my kids' ball games, and I said, they make these outdoor chairs with like shade covers and foot rests and cup holders and things like that. And I said, I just wish I had a chair that had a blanket built in. And so with that, I was sitting with a Republic gal. In fact, I just talked to her a couple of nights ago, and I'm like, it was because of you. I was sitting next to her, and I said, I need to make that. I need to see if that exists. And we went online, and I couldn't find it. And this idea just kept sitting with me literally for years. And I finally had a colleague that said to me, sometimes we're given ideas, and if you don't take those ideas and do something with them, maybe that idea needs to be planted with someone else. And so I felt almost guilty, like that I had an idea and maybe I didn't do what I should do with it. So I pursued a patent, and it was scary because it's not cheap.
And that's a whole process within itself, I've heard.
Yeah, and I think for moms, the challenge is, we're always, number one, either caring or thinking about saving or trying to get money to buy bats, balls, clothes, food. I mean, do you know what I'm saying? We're thinking about we need to be responsible with our money. And so for me, this was truly a gamble. Do I gamble and put this money into something that I don't know if it's going to go or not? And so I was quite hesitant. The first round on our patent application actually got declined, which I found out later on is quite common. So then the next question was, do you go back in? Because now there's more legal fees. Do you do it again? And my husband was like, you know what, we've gone this far, let's do it. And so we did it, and we got it. So we got the patent. And so with that, then the next round of savings had to happen because I wanted to manufacture here in the States.
Awesome.
And so clearly that was more expensive. And so then we started saving then for that. So once again, I think for mamas, that's such a challenge. And I think there's so many amazing ideas that are probably out there that get abandoned because moms don't have the resources, or dads, or anybody. You know what I'm saying? There's just not the resources there, and they're not in a position where they could save. And thank goodness we were, and we could do this. And so I feel so fortunate. But so we were able to manufacture here in the States. We started selling online, and it's been a struggle though at times. It is. I think you talked about how did you feel, and there's such doubt because you want something so bad, but how much can you sacrifice for that in terms of just your time, your money? Where do you go with it? And so I think those are probably learnings both of us have had along the way, but I don't think I would trade it at all. But,
and you're nationwide now, right?
Well, we just Shields picked us up, and so I wouldn't know that we're nationwide.
Well, pretty close.
Let's say we are. No,
nationwide is on her side.
So Cassidy and my daughter and I had thought about opening a boutique or doing something together for a long time. And during COVID is when we kept saying, oh, it's not the right time. This isn't the right time for her. It's not the right time for me. And she had just had her son. And we were just like, let's just go for it. And we did. We just we did not know what we were doing. We were very much just starting to, each of us in a different place, her with being a new mom and me with being an empty nester, starting to kind of venture out and see what we both wanted to be when we grew up.
I
And
love
that's
that.
kind
What
of-
do we want to be when we grow
Yeah,
up? Because
yeah.
I mean, you should always be striving for that. So that's, and you have two ends of the spectrum that's starting that. So that's
yes.
amazing.
It was
Was
very
it scary?
interesting.
How did that feel?
It was scary at first, but I feel like we were both ready to do something at that point.
What would you say to those women that, you know, they're kind of like just doubting themselves? People are putting that doubt in their head. How would you help them free up and say, no, I am woman, hear me roar. Let's go do this with red lipstick.
Yeah, which looks great on you,
Yeah.
by
It's,
the way.
it's Taylor
I can't pull
Swift.
that off.
I'm rocking it out all week. I just need people to know. Next week, maybe not.
Melissa and I are also in a very similar situation because we are in that age range where we have our parents also, you know, so we're in that sandwich generation completely. And time, I'm thinking time, how do you have time? And, you know, doubting yourself that you're going to have time, you're going to have enough, because that's what we always think of as women is when we got to have enough for everybody to go around. And instead of focusing on ourselves first. And for me and the things that I'm doing in my life right now, it is a challenge because I have, like I said, 3 grandbabies, have 6 kids. My children are all married to wonderful people, and they're my kids too. And I want enough of me to go around for all of them. So, with that, I also have my mother now that I have to think about my mother-in-law. And I do think as a woman, we're giving and we're in a situation now where their time is very limited, but you have to figure out what's most important and prioritize those things, but don't forget yourself in the process, because I think we do that a lot.
It's good.
And I think the other thing, if we're just relating it to women, is we're probably less likely to be crazy risk takers because we're thinking of things like that. And that was certainly the case for me. So everything took longer. So what I would say, especially if someone's a little younger and you're thinking about it, like start working on it now, because it's probably going to take you longer than you wanted. So my product, it's called Ponchero. I didn't mention that, but you know, a lot of people are, because my kids now aren't playing sports like in junior high and high school and all that, and so my friends will say, why didn't you have this whenever we were, you know, all together? And I'm like, be glad that you didn't, because if I walked by and anybody was using a blanket, I'd be like, no, wait a minute. So it's best that I'm past that point. But literally, that's the kind of timing. Like my kids I was in the thick of it when I came up with the idea. And by the time I actually executed it, my kids were out of school. So, but maybe that's okay, because in terms of timing, it was right. So if you can't be an immediate risk taker, then be a risk taker and just take it a little slower. Maybe that's what I would recommend.